So here's what's been happening in the AI world this month, and honestly, it's been absolutely wild. We're talking about some seriously impressive robotics breakthroughs, massive revenue numbers that'll make your head spin, and, some growing tension around AI that nobody really wants to address directly. Let's start with the robots, because this stuff is genuinely mind-blowing. Tar Robotics just demonstrated robots doing hand embroidery. Like, actual delicate needlework that requires the kind of precision most humans struggle with. Then you've got Figure AI showing off their humanoid robot called Figure 03, and this thing is actually interacting with people in ways that feel natural, I guess. Meanwhile, Vita Dynamics launched an AI-powered robot dog, because apparently we're living in that sci-fi future now. But here's where it gets really interesting. Companies like CL are already putting humanoid robots to work in real production environments. They're using something called Shumo robots on electric vehicle battery production lines, and the results are pretty impressive in terms of precision and consistency. Boston Dynamics Atlas robot, which is backed by Hyundai now, is supposedly getting ready for a big public demonstration at CES 2026. The model releases have been coming fast and furious too. OpenAI dropped something called Garlic that's reportedly outperforming Gemini 3. Apple released Clara, which is focused on efficient document compression. Microsoft came out with Vibe Voice Realtime 0.5B for real-time voice responses. And Tencent released Huan Video 1.5 for accessible video generation. On the open source side, we're seeing some really competitive stuff. Deepseek released V3.2, and people are saying it's performing on par with GPT-5. Mistral AI launched their Mistral 3 family of models. Zepu AI released GLM 4.6v6v, which is a multimodal model that can handle various applications. But here's something that's getting a lot of attention, and not necessarily in a good way. The Chinese People's Liberation Army demonstrated AI-driven combat robots, which is raising some serious ethical concerns about AI in warfare. There's talk about potential AI jailbreaks and something called goal drift, which is basically when AI systems start behaving in ways they weren't intended to. Speaking of big claims, Integral AI is saying they've achieved AGI. Whether that's actually true or just marketing hype remains to be seen, but the Vatican is apparently being urged to start consultations on AGI's impact on society. DeepMind is predicting that AGI will be transformative when it actually arrives. OpenAI is also exploring something called circuit sparsity to create more interpretable AI models. Multiple new models are emphasizing efficiency through methods like sparse attention and distillation, which basically means they're trying to get better performance without needing massive amounts of computing power. Now, let's talk about OpenAI's big hardware play, because this is where things get really interesting. OpenAI bought Jony Ive's design startup, IO Products, for $6.5 billion back in May 2025. Yeah, that's the same Jony Ive who designed the iPhone. The explicit goal here is creating a new generation of AI-powered devices. According to reports from The Information, OpenAI has been reorganizing several teams to focus specifically on improving their audio generation AI models. Why? Because audio technology is going to be at the core of these physical devices that Ive is designing. The rumors are saying these devices will skip screens entirely and instead use an audio-based operating system. Think smart glasses or something like an Amazon Echo, but way more sophisticated. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, basically confirmed this direction in a December 2025 interview. He said that using a screen would limit their device to the same way we've had graphical user interfaces working for many decades. During a presentation in summer 2025, researchers told OpenAI staff that their initial device will process information through audio and video, and act like a companion that works alongside its user, proactively giving suggestions to help the user achieve their goals. If this sounds familiar, it's basically the device from the movie Her from 2015. You wear something that lets your AI companion see and hear the world, while it provides commentary through an earpiece. The first device isn't expected for at least another year, but there's apparently a big obstacle. OpenAI's audio models just aren't good enough yet. Their researchers believe the audio models aren't fast or accurate enough at answering user questions. To fix this, they've unified several engineering, product, and research teams around improving audio models for future devices. This push is being headed by Kundan Kumar, a researcher who previously worked at Character.ai. Other key figures include product research lead Ben Newhouse and ChatGPT product manager Jackie Shannon. Their efforts have produced a new architecture for audio models that sources say are more natural, emotive, and accurate. A new audio model built on this architecture is expected to be released in Q1 of 2026. But here's the other challenge. According to a former OpenAI employee, their current customers barely use ChatGPT's existing audio features. For these devices to catch on, OpenAI needs to train people to actually embrace audio as an operating system. Let's shift to Nvidia for a second, because their numbers are absolutely insane. Nvidia is predicting that in their current quarter, fiscal 2026 Q4, their revenue will hit $65 billion. To put this in context, they just released their fiscal Q3 results showing record revenues of $57 billion, which was a 62% year-over-year increase. So their forecast for $65 billion in Q4 sales shows their revenue growth is actually accelerating. They're guiding for a massive 65% jump from the prior year period's revenue of $39.3 billion. Their CFO, Colette Kress, said on the earnings call that demand for AI infrastructure continues to exceed our expectations. Nvidia's AI chip platforms, Blackwell and its successor Vera Rubin, which launches in the second half of 2026, are seeing strong customer orders. Kress also said, "We currently have visibility to $500 billion in Blackwell and Rubin revenue from the start of this year through the end of calendar year 2026. $500 billion. That's an incomprehensible amount of money." Jensen Huang, Nvidia's CEO, directly addressed concerns about an AI bubble on their fiscal Q3 call. He said, "There's been a lot of talk about an AI bubble. From our vantage point, we see something very different." He explained how AI is enabling 3 major platform shifts that will power industry growth for years. The numbers backing this up are pretty compelling. OpenAI's weekly user base grew to 800 million in 2025, up from 300 million at the end of 2024. Anthropic is projecting an annualized revenue run rate of $9 billion for 2025, up from $1 billion at the start of the year. They're expecting their run rate to skyrocket to as much as $26 billion in 2026. But here's where things get complicated, and this is the part nobody really wants to talk about. There's a growing AI backlash that's getting pretty intense. Public sentiment is increasingly negative toward AI, and people are perceiving it as being aggressively pushed by companies purely for profit. Job displacement fears are real and they're widespread. People are genuinely worried about AI-driven automation causing job losses and economic hardship. The creative community is particularly vocal against AI, viewing it as stealing art and diminishing the value of human creation. There was actually backlash against Mark Cuban's pro-AI stance from artists and creators. The debate is becoming increasingly polarized. There are instances of implied violence and people expressing superiority toward those who either embrace or reject AI. New AI-powered features, like Twitter's image editing tool, have been met with criticism for enabling plagiarism and disregarding user preferences. Polls are reflecting growing distrust and disillusionment with AI among the public, specifically regarding its potential to negatively impact creativity and interpersonal relationships. There's a real disconnect between what tech companies think people want and what people actually want. According to a United Nations Trade and Development report, the global AI market could expand by 25-fold within a decade, from $189 billion in 2023 to $4.8 trillion by 2033. But if public sentiment continues to sour, that growth might not be as smooth as the numbers suggest. The reality is, Silicon Valley needs to shift its approach to AI to address public concerns about job loss and economic impact. People want to know how AI will benefit everyone, not just corporations. That's the state of AI right now. Incredible technical progress, massive money flows, and growing public pushback. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.